Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best movie-related show on the planet, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I don't know what the fuck is going on over there. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. Welcome to the show. Joining us over here today, moving some odd... Is this a mating dance of some sort? Robert Meyer Burnett.
I'm feeling today. I'm feeling good, John.
Feeling the Christmas.
I'm feeling Christmassy. You know, somebody said I get a Santa hat, which I should do.
One could say Robert's kind of popping.
No. See, there's a reason. There's a reason we don't let you guys see what happens before the show starts.
No.
Yep.
You're just going to have to take my word for it.
We get demonetized so fast.
Yeah, what sponsors? Sponsors. Chris Carr's joining us in another delightful Christmas holiday sweater.
Thank you.
Sitting back there, popping bottles is Ray Ora. This is right beside him, Jonathan Boyko running the show.
He lost his nerve. He had something planned.
No, I was not going to say it. I wasn't going to say it. Nope. What happens before the cameras start rolling stays before the cameras start rolling. And of course, the guy who is the new number one chance that will eventually get my show canceled, Taylor Gonzalez, sitting over there.
Just in time for Christmas.
It's just in time for Christmas. And guys, it is our third final show, regular John Campea show of the year. We're glad you guys are here and joining us today. And we got a bunch of things to cover here today. By the way, one of the reasons why I am in a very good mood today, it's my new, well, other than Christmas Day itself, it's my new second favorite day of the year. It's Adoptive Family Gift Delivery Day.
Yay!
Today. So today we deliver all the gifts that you guys helped us get. We'll make a video about it. I don't know that we'll show the family because I don't know if we're going to have their permission to put them on or not, but we're going to make a little video of us delivering the presents, stuff like that, and share with you guys the results of your efforts and what you guys did to help get that adoptive family an incredible Christmas gift. So that's going to be a good day. All right. Guys, we got a bunch of things to talk about here today, so let's dive right into it, shall we, with an off the top, and that one is this. You know, there was an era around the 90s, early 2000s, where, like, disaster movies, let's be honest, disaster movies are still kind of a really big thing.
They've never gone away.
People still love their disaster movies, and one of the more fun ones, not Oscar caliber, not one of the greatest, but one of the more fun ones to me was Paxton and Hunt's Twister. That was a fun movie. A little ridiculous in some places, but fun nonetheless. And a little while ago, we heard that there was going to be a Twister sequel, which I thought, I don't know, that's actually going to happen. Well, no. It's happening because the news is now out that not only is a Twister sequel coming, they've got a release date and everything. Summer of 2024 is when the Twister sequel is going to come out. I have not heard any official word if Helen Hunt is going to return. Obviously, Bill Paxton cannot. God, I miss that guy being on screen. No word about whether or not Helen Hunt. But listen, you might think it folly to say, you know, Twister 2, or it's going to be called Twisters, which also sounds like something a bully does to a kid in school. But Twisters has some heavyweight Academy-level talent attached to it. This is in Variety. You write the following. Twisters, a sequel to the 1996 disaster epic Twister, will wreak havoc on movie theaters in the summer of 2024. Universal, which is backing the film, has set Twisters to release theatrically on July 19th, 2024, against some competition. On its current release date, Twisters will open on the big screen alongside Paramount's Transformers: A New Generation, and 1 week ahead of Marvel's Thunderbolts, which I've been getting kind of excited about. But listen to the talent attached. Lee Isaac Chung, who steered Minari to several Oscar nominations, is directing Twisters. The screenplay will be written by Mark L. Smith, who co-wrote Alejandro Iñárritu's Academy Award-winning film The Revenant, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. These are the people involved in making Twisters? So I don't know. I don't look at Twisters and think awards bait, but maybe they're approaching this thing. You know what? We can make something really good here. They've certainly got some great talent. Sign me up as being interested in this. Rob, you hear about Twisters, has a release date. It's a real thing. It's happening. It's a real boy.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, with how global warming is working, we're seeing in our country the danger that these kinds of storms, they're still here, and we're getting more and more of them. We had an event that happened, last week? So it's terrifying. So I think for a subject matter, they can definitely make something topical and scary. I mean, remember Twister, the trailer with the the cow flying into the.
Yeah.
I mean that changed trailers for like the next 3 years.
I assume this film is a revenge film for the cow.
This time, it's personal.
I'm thinking I'm back.
Lock up your livestock.
Chris, what do you think about this? Are you at first? Can you believe this is real? And are you interested in this?
I do think it's odd to have this because we don't have Bill Paxton. We don't have Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was wonderful
Yeah,
too.
yeah, that's true.
We love a disaster movie, though. You know that people love disasters. It's why we have so much traffic here. People love to slow down and have that Schadenfreude moment of seeing what's happened on the other side of the freeway, right? We love a good disaster movie. There's something just weirdly, I don't know, barbaric inside all of us that does love to see just mass destruction. So, I mean, there's definitely an audience for it. I just want to know how it's all going to be executed. But with this writing team, ooh, sounds exciting.
Now, you're right. Missing Paxton, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Helen Hunt is still around. But
Yeah.
let's be honest. The star of Twister were the Twisters.
Oh, for sure. And the cow.
And the cow.
Yeah.
Which I watched that trailer, it was about a year ago or something like that. I remember at the time when that came out, I was like, oh my gosh. But like today, it's like, that is such bad CGI. That is so bad. But I mean, it was a different era.
I was going to say for that
Right.
90s, though, it was like, what?
Yeah, for the 90s, like it was the floor was different, right? It was different at that time. So I don't know how they are calling it a continuation. So I don't know. I don't know if it's Helen Hunt's character is now out for revenge. I don't know if, this is going to be the children of Paxton, Helen Hunt, maybe, who picked up in their parents' footsteps.
It better damn well be canonical to the first one. I want to make sure it's in
It
the
sounds
Twister
like
universe.
it is.
Yeah.
It sounds like it is. They're going to set up, and now there's going to be 7 spin-offs.
Twister's Afterlife.
Then they're going to go start chasing earthquakes. I mean, it's going to be, I don't know. But whatever. Listen, they've got some heavy-duty talent attached to it, guys. So the question is for you. Are you excited for Twisters? Listen, having had a lot of fun with the first one, with modern visual effects technology, they could do some really, really fun stuff. Anyway, whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's do another off the top here, shall we? And that one is this. Now, obviously, one of the biggest pieces of news going around in the world of movies, and it will be continuing to be one of the big things probably for the next couple of months, is, the formation of DC Studios, James Gunn and Peter Safran becoming the new CEOs of that new thing, guiding it creatively and all that kind of stuff. Now, also, if you go back a couple of years, when they announced that they were doing a Joker standalone movie, you guys will know, if you followed me since the movie blog days, I've said for many, many, many years that I really wish that these cinematic universes, DC and Marvel, would have the coconuts to spin off and do like some standalone Elseworld kind of movies. That not every effing thing has to be in shared cinematic universe. The comics didn't do it that way. So why does everything? Because you handcuff yourself creatively. I love the cinematic universes, I do, but tell some stories that give the creators some leeway and some flexibility to tell some really different kind of stories and go, well, that's a great sounding story, but we can't do it because it contradicts with our shared cinematic universe. So when they announced that they were doing a Joker movie, I lost my mind. I'm like, that's awesome. And then all the people said, what the hell is that bug flying around in here? Then when all the people said, well, no one's going to care about a Joker movie if Batman's not in it. Oh, yeah? How about $1 billion, an Academy Award win, and a nomination for Best Picture? How'd that work out? Worked out pretty damn well. It's great. Now we've got Robert Pattinson's Batman, right? It's a separate Elseworlds kind of thing. Well, nobody will care about it if a Superman is in the same universe. Oh, yeah? I made an ass load of money in one of the best films of the year. So it can work. It can be done well. Well, will they carry that into the new DCU? Well, here's what's coming out now. Apparently, a user on Twitter, and James Gunn is very active in responding to people on Twitter. A user on Twitter, you can scroll down a little bit for this, Jonathan, wrote to James Gunn and asked, are you open to producing any Elseworlds DC properties that aren't set in the DCU? It's a little bit higher. It might take a second for it to appear there. So again, they wrote to him, are you open to producing any Elseworlds DC properties that aren't set in the DCU? And James Cameron just shortly, sweetly said, that is actively happening. So
James Gunn said that.
James Gunn says that is
You said James Cameron.
Did I say Cameron?
Yeah.
James Cameron is also getting into the DC films. No, James Gunn says that is actively happening. We're going to be talking about James Cameron a little bit later in the show. I got him on the brain. So look, there's two different ways you can look at this. One is that he's talking about well, Joker 2 and the next Robert Pattinson Batman movie. Those are Elseworld things. They are actively happening. It's not like we came in here, we're going to kill those projects. These things are great. Or you can take it as him saying, oh, no, we are actively putting together other individual standalone stories that'll be outside of the DCEU, as well as an active interior. I think the truth is both. I think he's both referring to the fact that, hey, look, we've already got Joker and Joker's happening, and we already got Robert Pattinson's Batman. We're going to get more of those. And I think he's saying we are going to get other things. Now, will this mean some brand new original creative stories? Maybe. Does it mean taking some of the great Elseworld stories like Red Sun, which is like one of the best Elseworld stories ever? And we know he's got a respect and a passion for Superman. So maybe something like that. I don't know. But Chris, as somebody who really values the idea of having movies that are in a big connected shared universe, like in the comics, and also having some one-shot creative stories free from the shared cinematic universe, like the comics. I hear this. I'm very, very excited about this. I wish Marvel had the balls to do something like this too, but they're so afraid to move outside of there. Well, everything has to be connected or the viewers might reject us. Have some balls, man. Anyway, what do you think about this comment from James Gunn?
I love this. And to your point too, yeah, we're already seeing Elseworlds because we know we're going to have things that aren't interconnected. And we've been saying that for ages on this show. We talked about this on Weekly Hero a couple of weeks ago too, of the way to move forward is to just tell great stories. They don't have to be connected. They just have to be great. And if they connect to other things, rad. If they don't, rad as well. You're going to have a fun time, right? And Elseworlds, I mean, people forget too, some of the biggest stories in comic books come from those kinds of imprints. Kingdom Come is Elseworlds.
Yeah.
You know, if we could get some kind of Batman Darkest Night at some point, that would be really, really rad. Red Sun, to your point too, is a really great story that wouldn't fit into a connected universe because that completely retcons how Clark became Superman and everything, right? He's born in Russia instead. So I feel like there's a lot of really cool things you can do here, and it allows your filmmakers to play in the sandbox without so many rigid parameters. Because I think that's something that honestly has hurt Marvel as of late, is that, well, we have to follow this blueprint, we have to have all this, and they all have to know each other, and everyone is connected. No, a lot of superheroes are operating on their own time in their own universe. If you can multiverse stuff, you can do this, and you can do this honestly much more effectively because there's actual consequences.
I'm going to say something here. It's going to make some people in this room excited, but I believe it. You know what this really opens the door for? Batman Beyond.
Sure does, John. Sure stinking does.
This, if you want to do Batman Beyond, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. And it opens that door. And I wouldn't be completely surprised if Batman Beyond in the back of James Gunn's head is one of those things he was referring to and says it's already actively happening. So I no insider information. James Gunn has told me nothing.
I'm not falling for it, John. I'm not falling for this shit.
Yeah, let's start bandwagon guy over here. Oh, Batman Beyond. Yeah, I think it's gonna happen.
I'm just saying this. If you're going to do it, this is the way to do it.
This could also give us our very campy kind of Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. We could get that as well, because that's what I've always wanted. I want that kind of Nathan Fillion, Alan Tudyk version of those two being those characters.
Now I will accept nothing else.
Right?
Damn it, Chris. Now that you've put that in my head, I will accept nothing else.
It'll probably be on HBO Max, too, which will make it better. It won't be like a CW thing.
Yeah.
No, I meant like
I'm with you.
A series.
For sure.
Something like that would be better as a series, I think.
An expensive series. Anyway, Rob, we've talked for many years about the benefits or the risks of doing like standalone Elseworld kind of films plus your shared cinematic universe. You hear James Gunn's comments. What do you think he's implying when he says this?
I think exactly that. I mean, we've got examples of the Joker film being very successful. And there's no reason why, because the DC universe has so many rich stories. There's even stories of all the main characters, not just Red Sun, but, you know, everything from Gotham by Gaslight, Batman fights vampires, Batman becomes a vampire. And they've got so many different, that leaves also the doorway open to do more horror stuff that doesn't necessarily have to link back to the DC universe. I mean, even though you see in Sandman, like House of Secrets and things like that, they could do all kinds of things. I really hope that they use the Elseworlds moniker to brand these movies. I would love to see, you know, like a DC logo, DC Elseworlds at the front of these films. I think that'd be really cool. So that would delineate, you would know that the DC Universe films are DC Universe movies and that the Elseworlds movies are something else. I think that could be really cool. And that could be part of their brand that they would get people excited about. because there's so many characters that they could delve into that is not part of their big group Justice League adjacent or whatever that they could delve into. You know, they had an offshoot press called Piranha Press. It was part of DC, and they published a comic called Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children. And they were really wonderful stories. It was like an anthology comic. I would love to see them do that, like turn that into a series or something. There's so many different DC offshoots that they could do things with. I'm excited to see where they're going with all this.
And, you know, you're talking about the success of Joker, the overwhelming success of the Batman and stuff like that. When you have these standalone things separate from your shared cinematic universe that are all more successful than your shared cinematic universe, that's a pretty big flag that it's time for you to reset your shared cinematic universe.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, because clearly, look, people still love these characters, right? People still clearly love these characters. It's this movie universe that you've created that people don't seem to care about anymore. Because so when you're doing these standalone things are more successful. Anyway, pretty good sign that maybe it's time to reboot, maybe. Anyway, guys, question is for you. James Gunn is saying, yeah, we're already actively developing some Elseworlds stuff. We're going to get a DC world of movies that have one big connected shared cinematic universe and individual creative stories going along, like movies like The Batman and Joker and other things they can create, where the filmmakers will have real freedom without having to worry about whether they're consistent with the DC shared cinematic universe. I personally think it's great, but maybe you're one of those people that feels like not everything should be interconnected. Whatever you guys feel or think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on now to our Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. If you guys have a question for us and you'd like to hear your voice on the show, just go ahead and call our hotline number anytime 24/7 at 951-268-4259. Leave your message there and maybe you'll hear us address it on the show. And today's is about maybe a future for the Terminator. Here's what they wrote.
Hey John, it's Jaden Fryer calling. I love the show. I've just seen that James Cameron did an interview with the outlet called Smartless, and they asked him a question regarding the Terminator series, and he said that if he were to do it, it would be focused more on the AI and less of the robots gone evil type route that we've been getting recently. Do you think that we actually could get revitalization of the Terminator franchise, or do you think that that brand is too far gone, unlike Transformers, where they have a little bit more breathing room with what they can do in terms of making a comeback? Thanks, and put on the filthy.
All right, Jen, thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, so what he's referring to, if you didn't hear about this or familiar with this, what he's referring to is that James Cameron was being asked about Terminator and whether or not anything like that could happen again. So this is what he said, and this is coming to us from Variety. As Cameron said on the podcast, if I were to do another Terminator film and maybe try to launch that franchise again, which is in discussion, but nothing has been decided, I would make it much more about the AI side of it than the bad robots gone crazy. So again, it says, if I were to try to relaunch a franchise again, which is in discussion. All right. Couple of takeaways here from this. Number one, there are reports going around. I've seen some headlines and I see some things on Twitter. People saying, John, did you hear that James Gunn is developing a new Terminator franchise? No, he's not.
You mean James Cameron?
Did I say James Gunn this time?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm getting my Jameses mixed up today. Whatever, it's almost Christmas time. Okay, so some people are going around saying that, hey, listen, James Cameron is saying that he's developing a new Terminator. No, he's not. He did not say that. They have not written any script. They're not doing any story. They are not developing squat. What he did say is that there are some conversations happening about whether or not we do try to do another Terminator. That's it. Okay. That some of these things I've seen about James Gunn making a new Terminator, James Gunn developing. No, he's not. All he has said at this point is that we're talking about maybe doing something. We're talking about it, but no decision to do anything has been made. I'll just say this. I don't think this happens. I don't think it happens, at least not with James Cameron or James Gunn. I don't think this thing happens with Cameron because he has 32 Avatar movies to make. It just took him 13 years to get one out the door. He's got 3 coming up, then he's got 4 and 5, I mean, these things are going to take him till he's in his 80s. So I just don't see. Now, could he pull an Alita Battle Angel where he's like, okay, I'll help work on the production. I'll be a producer, mostly in name only, and I'll bring in another director who'll look after that. Well, they kind of did that with the last Terminator movie, and the results were not so good. So the only way I can possibly see another Terminator movie happening is if it had absolutely nothing to do with James Cameron. If James Cameron just let them run, because he's got no time to do it himself. The last time he tried to produce it while somebody else directed it, the results were terrible. So I don't know. He certainly can't do it. So that's fine that somebody talks about it. It's a well-known IP. Right now we live in a movie world where IP is king. And so of course you have to talk about it. And of course you have to look into it. But I don't see another Terminator happening, at least not with James Cameron, anytime in the immediate future. Chris, you heard these comments from James Cameron. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's always one of those things, right? Of like, yeah, there's always the possibility of us doing this. We're certainly exploring this because if you have a great idea that's been a blockbuster hit, you're going to keep coming back to that and keep trying to mine for more gold, right? We already do have some Terminator 2, though, out there with Avatar 2. It's got big T2 vibes in that movie.
It really does, yeah.
There's a couple greatest hits moments where you're like, there you are, Jimmy. I see you. I see what you're doing.
And some Titanic moments in there,
so many
too.
Titanic moments, yeah, where I was like, this is great. We saw it in 4DX, too, so that made it so much weirder.
Oh, wow.
It was great. But I think that, the AI angle is really interesting. I think that's something that's timely and something that could be something that could really reinvigorate this franchise as well, exploring that as opposed to just robots fighting. AI is something that we have a lot of actual real concerns about too. As artists, we see that with voice modulation, with the AI portraits that happen, with images being taken from other people. Your Siri's and your Alexa's listening in on you at home, right? There's some people with some very real concerns about it. I myself thank Siri every time because I want her to keep me as a pet when she uprises,
I want to welcome our new AI overlords.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. There'll be so much structure. Gosh, I love controllable variables. So I think there's some cool stuff that could happen here. I could see potential.
Mentioning that, it's got a little bit of, for those of you who are old enough to remember, a little bit of War Games vibe to it. Anyway, Rob, you're here in James Cameron. Could we see a new James Cameron done Terminator project at some point? Is this a franchise that's quite frankly maybe been run into the ground already?
First, I just want to point out that War Games came out in 4K yesterday.
Whoa!
Of course it did.
Just saying. Honestly, John, I think this franchise is played out. And the great thing about the Terminator franchise, what made it work was its simplicity. The first movie, guy goes back in time to stop an unstoppable killing machine from killing the father of the future. Easy to understand, stripped to the bone. It could concentrate on the action nature of it, the relentless pursuit of this unstoppable killing machine. It was great. And then he flips the script with Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The bad robot's now the good robot, has to protect the same kid that was going to be killed in the first movie, sort of. And it just worked. Ever since then, they've tried to figure out ways to Terminator Genesis, Terminator Salvation, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, Terminator Dark Fate, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. That was a good TV show.
That was a pretty decent show, yeah.
Really liked it. But it's like, enough already. First of all, why are the AI, the whole thing is they want them to look human to infiltrate humans. Why don't they build some gigantic skyscraper-sized Terminator robot and just lay waste to the present? Why are they following people? Why don't they just go and send shit back in time? I know you have to have like human skin wrapped. It just, how many movies, how many times do we have to see the same plot and variations on a theme? If they do it, the idea of AI is, I think, really interesting. I don't know how, again, are they going to put AIs in, endoskeletons again? I just think that this franchise, it's a product of a time. Our technology has sort of progressed and gone in different interesting directions. They need to reimagine what this Terminator franchise is in order to make it work, because none of these movies have really worked since Judgment Day. And the thing is, they're all missing one important item, and that's James Cameron. It came out of James Cameron. Terminator was one of the great, call it a B movie, one of the great low-budget sci-fi films ever made, and Terminator 2 was the dawn of the $100 million blockbuster era, and he killed it there too. No one else can do what he does, and we have to live through every other mediocre sequel again and again.
Here's the other thing too about the franchise, that after Terminator 2, and you can argue that it actually kind of started a little bit in Terminator 2, but it's much like my Iron Man complaint. It's like in the first Terminator, they try to explain it all in tangible, granted futuristic, but tangible mechanical scientific terms. This is how they work. They did this, they did this. As the movies progressed, it became more wizardry and magic. The machines now hold all the Infinity Stones, so they can do all these magic. Like nothing worked like technology works. It all worked like magic.
Right.
And that took away, again, to borrow your phrase, verisimilitude. It took away verisimilitude from it. So you're right. It's been a long time since they've had a win. They've had one or two that weren't awful. But I mean, that's the best you can say about them.
I think the end of Rise of the Machines, Terminator 3, that Jonathan Mostow directed, was pretty interesting. Like
that was one with Claire Danes, right?
Yes, okay. And then the nuclear missiles are flying at the end.
That no matter what they did, it was fated to happen.
I love that. That was cool. That ending was cool, and you still had Arnold in that movie. But again, it just
yeah. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about that? James Cameron is saying there are discussions going on about him specifically relaunching the Terminator franchise. With what time? I just don't know. And as this is a franchise that's just too far gone at this point, I don't know. Maybe you're somebody who's like, you know what? The core stuff of great storytelling is still there in Terminator. We'd love to see another one. However you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. You want to know one of the big advantages that the Terminators had? They never had to shave their balls. We do. So why not do it with the help of a really good machine with our friends at Manscaped and then keep it comfortable in some MeUndies? Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Manscaped. This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends over at Manscaped. Everyone loves turkey and stuffing, but you'll be looking like dessert with the help of Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have blessed you with the ultimate Thanksgiving dinner topic. Tell your in-laws about your new cutting-edge ball trimmer and gift yourself or the man in your life the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Trim up your pumpkins by going to manscaped.com and use the code CAMPEA for free shipping and 20% off. And this year I am so thankful for Manscaped because like most of you guys, I used to use Neanderthalic Dark Age methods to trim my balls. Not anymore, thanks to Manscaped. It's time for all of us to give thanks to Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, or as I like to call it, the perfect package for your package. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. The heart of the package, their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the promo code CAMPEA. Be thankful this holiday season for the best gift of all from Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. The holidays are officially upon us and it's time to start celebrating. Do your thing and holiday your way with MeUndies. Because it's the most wonderful time of the year to try MeUndies because they're currently offering a very merry deal. Get 20% off your first purchase with free standard shipping and free returns when you go to MeUndies.com/Campea. Guys, you know I've been wearing MeUndies for a while now because I used to be like everybody else. I would go to the big store, buy the biggest box of the most generic underwear, and I thought that was good enough. But ever since I started MeUndies and started wearing the most comfortable underwear I have ever worn in my life, I swear on this Christmas season, I will never go back. So get your holiday shopping finished early and start making time for yourself with the new MeUndies holiday collection. Their undies, long underwear, and sleepwear are made out of the softest, most supple fabric you've ever felt and are guaranteed to bring you comfort and joy to all of your loved ones. Shop their classic plaid prints for a traditional, picture-perfect style, or get festive with their adventurous limited edition sweater prints. Available in sizes extra small all the way through 4XL, MeUndies has what you need to make all of your favorite people smile this holiday season, all in one convenient place. So to get 20% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Campea. And thank you to both of our friends at MeUndies and to Manscaped for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Not gonna lie, all joking aside, guys, I love both these companies. You got to check them out. All the promo codes and links to all of our sponsors are down in the description below. Remember, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So thank you again to Manscaped and MeUndies. All right, guys, with that down, let's get into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics on the John Campea Show? Well, that's where you come in. You guys come up with our main topics. See, whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Thor Screwdriver. Hey, John and crew. So it's being reported that the new Netflix ad tier, which they were saying was going to save their company, is off to a really bad start, with almost half the subscribers just being existing subscribers downgrading to the cheaper model. Could this ad-supported trend in the streaming world be really short-lived, or does it have a chance of making a big impact? Thanks.
All right, Thor Screwdriver, the often overlooked Thor Screwdriver.
Yeah.
Always, the hammer always getting the attention.
It's like Doctor Who's screwdriver, but different.
Oh, I don't watch
Yeah.
Doctor Who, so that didn't mean anything to me.
I got you, bud.
All right, so here's the thing about this. We've always talked about the interesting thing about the dynamic of streaming is that it actually doesn't matter how many people watch a show. It really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is, does a show trigger new subscribers? That's it. Because if you got a show that 1 billion people watch, it doesn't actually make the streaming service anything. If anything, it costs them a lot of money for the hosting and the bandwidth that they got to pay for. So it really doesn't mean them anything. But what about an ad-supported tier, going back to the days of regular cable television? But with an ad-supported tier on your streaming service, which we are seeing with Hulu, Hulu's had one for a while, which we are now seeing on Disney Plus, which we are now seeing on Netflix, which is going to be adopted. Peacock's had one for a while. That dynamic means that the more people who do watch a show, hey, now there's value to it. You know, Netflix would often be in the habit of canceling shows after 2 or 3 seasons, even though they were popular, because they were no longer generating new subscribers. So people tuning in to watch these 3rd and 4th and 5th seasons, it didn't actually make them any money, so they would axe them. In a new paradigm where you have ad-supported tiers, where guess what? Even if nobody new signs up to subscribe to watch that show, as long as people are watching it, we're making money off of it. So it was going to usher in this new golden era of streaming. It was going to be this golden payday child. Well, Netflix has launched theirs, and according to the story now out there, they may have launched it, but in St. Kevin Costner, and if you build it, they will come, because it's kind of open with a bit of a thud at this point. This comes to us from the folks. Actually, I lost my spot. Where did my article go? All right. This comes to us from the folks over at, there it is, Variety. Oops, that's the one. I lost my article. Anyway, from IndieWire, they write this. According to the Wall Street Journal, subscription analytics firm Antenna, which is one of the major ones in the business, is reporting that the ad-supported plan was the least popular Netflix tier during its first month of availability, accounting for only 9% of new user signups. 57% of subscribers to this new tier in the first month were new signups, but 43% just downgraded from the more expensive plans. For comparison, when HBO Max's ad tier launched for $9.99 a month in June of last year, Antenna reported that it drove 15% of new signups in the United States during its first month, with only 14% of new customers downgrading from the premium tier. That's huge. So not only did they have a bigger base number of new subscribers for this new tier, but whereas HBO, only 14% of them were already existing customers who just downgraded to the thing. 43% of these Netflix people who went and signed up for the ad tier were already Netflix subscribers that just decided to downgrade. Not a great launch. Now, whether this is a result of, much like everything else in Netflix, they didn't do enough to promote this. I mean, say what you want about the Disney Plus little scheme about let's raise the prices on our regular thing and call the new ad-supported tier the cheaper tier when really it's the same price we did. Say what you want about it. They marketed it. They put out press releases and they let the audience, they let their customers know about it, and it was out there. HBO did the same thing. Netflix just very, very quietly, and it seems like most of the people who are taking advantage of it are the ones who are just already subscribers anyway. So this is something they're going to have to get on the ball about. Rob, you read this report, you see what's happening. What's your takeaway from it?
Well, it's not good. I mean, the idea that they had so many people downgrade their existing subscriptions, that's the last thing in the world that Netflix wants. The whole point of having lower priced ad tiers is to get new subscribers to sign up, not have your current subscribers cut their subscription price in half. That's counterproductive. I mean, look, like everything else though, this is the first month. This is all a transitional period. The streaming wars there's a long way for them to go to shake out.
We are still in the infancy of the streaming wars.
Absolutely. And we're seeing where all of this is going to go. And, Disney Plus losing their $4 billion on streaming. Like, I think that what we're seeing is the studios had, I think, way too much expectation because they saw, hey, this is free money. For the very first time, all of these entertainment concerns, the great thing about subscriptions are they knew what their cash flow was going to be month to month. Studios didn't have that kind of assurance before. Every movie they released was a shot in the dark, like we hope it works. But now when they have all this stuff, the problem is they didn't realize how much they'd have to feed that machine to keep people on board.
Yeah.
And the churn that has happened, because that was something that I'm sure that they should have anticipated it, but they haven't, because people just think, hey, you're a subscription for life. That's not the way things are. And they're still trying to figure out. I think ad tiers are a good idea, but we have to see over the course of a year, how is that going to play out? Is the majority of subscribers to Netflix going to downgrade? Because that wouldn't be good for them at all. Or are people going to stay without ads? I don't know. But again, we're in the infancy of all this, so I don't think this bodes well for the short term, though. I don't.
Chris, you see these numbers, so like two questions. One, what's your main takeaway from this? But number two, if Netflix were to actually start doubling down and really pushing and marketing this new tier, could they turn it around, or is this thing a dead fish from the start? What do you think?
I really think they could, because this is a long game kind of situation here, right? We've seen these hybrid models work with other streamers. Peacock, Paramount Plus, Hulu. They've all done really, really well with these ad tiers and doing it. What Netflix has the greater hurdle of coming over is that they have to retroactively now bring in commercials, which we've never had on there, right? So there are people who are going to be recalcitrant to it. Now, that being said, I already kicked off 3 people from my Netflix because of how I was going to have to pay for other people's Netflix accounts.
Right.
So I think in the coming months, we are going to see people slowly come on board once they can't do that anymore, or they realize they want this content on Netflix. Right now, we just have an abundance of different streaming things, right? We have so many new shows. Paramount Plus, honestly, is really dominating right now. Apple TV is really dominating right now. So Netflix might have taken a back seat. Even though they did so much quantity this year, there's been a lot of quality on there, right? So hopefully in 2023, we'll see some really exciting projects that get people on board and want to use this situation here instead.
There is another big difference, and Jonathan, if you can bring that image up again, that's a great chart there. But one of the other big differences here, when you're talking about HBO and Disney Plus, for example, with Disney Plus, when you go to their quote unquote cheaper, which was just the same price as it was before, but their quote unquote cheaper tier, you get Disney Plus. The only difference is you get it with ads. Netflix went with the option that, at their $6.99 price model. The thing is, forget 4K. You don't even get 1080. You get 720. It also has some other limitations on it as well. You can't download the content like you can on things, which, by the way, is a really unique Netflix sort of thing. But, I mean, they attach not only ads, but other disadvantages by taking it too. Whereas some of the other streamers is like the only disadvantage is you get ads. So that could play into it as well. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you think Netflix can turn this around? I mean, we've seen, like Chris said, we've seen some other streaming platforms have some success with this ad-supported tier. Do you think they need to take away that 720 limitation? Do you think there's other things they can do? Maybe they just need to start marketing it. Have you signed up for the ad-supported tier? Whatever you guys feel, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, Let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This one comes from Edison. Obviously, when they announced that Hugh Jackman was coming back to play Wolverine again in Deadpool 3, almost everyone was super excited. The only people that weren't were those that were worried that somehow the perfect ending for Logan would somehow be messed with and ruined. Jackman just did an interview where he said they absolutely won't mess with Logan's timeline. Does this put you at ease knowing that? Thanks and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Edison. And what I called the second biggest piece of movie news that I have ever covered in my career. The first being, of course, that Disney had picked up Lucasfilm and that there was going to be new Star Wars movies. What I called the second biggest thing was that Hugh Jackman Gunn was coming back to play Wolverine again in a Deadpool movie. That to me is like the second best piece of news ever. But as Edison points out in his email, there was some trepidation among some people about, hey, listen, Logan, to some people, may be the greatest comic book film of all time. It's certainly up there in the conversation. It's in my top 3. Logan is one of the greatest comic book films of all time, maybe the greatest comic book of all time, with a gorgeous, poetic, almost Shakespearean kind of ending. Are you going to mess with that? And that was something that a lot of people were really nervous about. Well, anyway, Hugh Jackman himself was being interviewed and talked about this, about, whether or not this could be happening. Could this be something that gets in the way of things? And Hugh Jackman said this. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, who said the following. Jackman recently told SiriusXM that his Wolverine return was contingent on not messing with the events of Logan, which both fans and the actor view as the perfect conclusion for that iteration of Wolverine. It's all because of this device they have in the Marvel world of moving around timelines, Jackman said of his return. Now we can go back because, it's science. So I don't have to screw with the Logan timeline, which was important to me. And I think probably to the fans too. So Hugh Jackman saying, okay, yeah, one of the first things that I brought up was, okay, we can do this, but it cannot interfere with the Logan movie. That was my swan song till I decided to come back. But still, that was the swan song for the character. It might be the best comic book movie ever made, depending on who you ask. It's perfect. That can't be messed with. Now, of course, we talked about this before, though. There is almost nothing that Marvel could do that would mess with Logan. Because as Ryan Reynolds, good Canadian kid himself, pointed out, the events of Logan theoretically take place in the year 2029. Mm-hmm. So whatever we do in this movie doesn't have anything to do with Logan. Not to mention, James Mangold himself, the director of Logan, had previously said when they were putting the movie out that this movie doesn't really take place in the exact same universe as those other X-Men films. Clearly a lot of similarities. We know Professor X, we know all that kind of stuff. But, you also see changes and differences between Logan and some of the quote-unquote canon schmanon of the previous X-Men films. So James Mangold himself, the director of that film, said this is kind of in its own universe anyway. But still, to make sure that, because, Ryan Reynolds at the end of the last Deadpool movie started jumping around timelines and popping up in other movies and things like that. It's like, no. Can't do any of that with Logan. Logan cannot be touched. So even though I never thought there was a real threat of Logan being messed with, it's nice at least to hear that Hugh Jackman made his starting point. Okay, we can do this, but number one, can't mess with Logan. And it sounds like they're going to make sure that they abide by that and don't go in that direction. Rob, did you ever feel there was any kind of a danger to Logan itself being messed with? And what do you think about Hugh Jackman's comments here?
No, because, the whole tone of Logan is very different. In a way, it's kind of like we saw it again in No Time to Die when Bond finally dies. And at the end of the movie, it says James Bond will return. We live in that world. So this doesn't bother me because, we're so caught up on the idea of continuity, John. And I think that what we're going to get is a film that's so far removed from this film in terms of its tone and what happens. I think we're going to get a romp. We're going to, I talked yesterday, wouldn't it be great if we did like a world's finest movie with Batman and Superman, like Lethal Weapon 2?
Right.
Well, that's a lot more along the lines of what this is going to be. I would imagine that Deadpool gets Wolverine, takes him out of whatever timeline he's in, and they go on a multiversal rampage of mirth and mayhem of some kind. And it's going to be fun, and we're going to love it. But I don't think it's going to affect the poignant the poignant nature of Logan.
Chris, you hear, Jackman's words. I love hearing him say that was his first rule. We can't mess with Logan.
Yeah.
But was there ever a danger of Logan being messed with here? I don't know. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. And even if they did go into 2029 or something, it doesn't take away how great Logan was. I'm not going to watch this Deadpool movie and go, well, now Logan's a dog shit film, isn't it? No, that's not going to happen. I think that, Hugh Jackman has so much respect for this character because it really is such a defining role of his, right? You just associate Hugh Jackman with Wolverine. And I know these two just have such real love for each other and respect for each other, despite all the ripping and everything, right? They're besties. So I think they're going to do a really fun, wonderful, buddy romp here with these characters that's still going to allow Logan to exist as it was and have this be its own completely different animal. We've got multiverses. We've got different timelines. We've got all kinds of stuff happening in Marvel. It's going to be fine. No big deal here.
All right. So here's the big question. This is the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Does Patrick Stewart make an appearance? Clearly he's not going to have a role in the film, but does Patrick Stewart make an appearance in Deadpool 3? Rob, yes or no?
Yes.
You think he does?
I think he does.
Okay. Chris, does Patrick Stewart make an appearance in Deadpool 3?
I don't think he does.
Taylor, put that up as a poll if you know how to create a poll.
I don't think I have access to that.
Okay, I will do that. Ray, we go over to you. Does Patrick Stewart show up in Deadpool 3?
Yeah,
You say he does as well.
Yeah.
Jonathan, what about you?
I think so.
No.
Okay. Oh, no, we got to know. And Taylor?
Yes, he's going to do it.
You think so too? I'm going to say
What?
yes. What's that, Ray?
No, go ahead.
No, what were you going to say?
No, because I'm thinking
You got to speak into your mic.
it's like a multiverse thing, right? So it has to be some sort of timeline thing. So no, I'll stick with yes.
All right, so just for those of you guys watching, I'll go just a second here. Just for those of you guys watching us live right now, I did put up a poll in the live chat, and it's a simple question. Does Professor X show up in Deadpool 3? Right now, we've got 400 now it's 500 and something votes, and 60% are saying yes, he does. Rob?
I'm going to go even further. McAvoy, Stewart, Fassbender, and Ian McKellen also are going to appear in this movie.
Oh my God. Okay. That would be, I'll go out right now. That would top the Illuminati scene in Doctor Strange.
And they're going to have bigger roles to play.
No, you're not just talking cameo now. You
No.
think you're actually going to have a legitimate roles.
They're going to have, they're not going to be in it probably very much, but I don't think it's just going to be a one-note joke. I think that there's going to be something, because they still have to make a movie that has real stakes and real peril. It can't just be a ridiculous romp. And I think it's all going to lead into getting Deadpool into the MCU. So we're going to see all of these different iterations. And Wolverine is the only character that can traverse the two timelines of the First Class timeline and the modern day. And as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of the X-Men in this movie, because it's a way to shut the door and then open the door.
So you think James Marsden, Famke Janssen,
possibly, yes. Because why not?
Halle Berry.
Why not? Why not do that? And whatever's going to happen, because here's the way to close that door on those characters in the MCU, or at least either shunt them over to Secret Wars or do something. Why not make this a universal romp? Or a multiversal universal romp?
I don't see that happening. Unless we did see James McAvoy in Deadpool 2, which was interesting. So anyway, yeah, guys, question is for you. By the way, final result of the poll, just over 1,000 votes came in. And the final thing is you guys are saying, yes, Patrick Stewart will pop up in Deadpool 3. 39% of you are saying no. Thank you to everybody for participating in that poll. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Hugh Jackman says that the events of Logan will not be touched. Did you ever feel that was a danger in the first place? Maybe yes, maybe no. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3, shall we? Chris, what is our third main topic today?
This one comes from Galactic Champ. Hey everyone. Well, it looks like everyone from DCEU might be getting a recast. A certain star is adamant on staying. Shazam star Zachary Levi took to Twitter to assure fans who were afraid he might recast, quote, "I'm Gucci. We all Gucci." This also comes after recently Shazam director David F. Sandberg was at IMAX headquarters rocking the new DC Studios hoodie. John, it feels like this might be the actual first instance of something from DCEU transferring onto the DCU. While not 100% confirmed, it is quite an interesting stance for Levi to make. What do you make of this, John? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that in Galactic Champ. And this is interesting. And I'm going to say the first piece of news, the first story, if you will, about the new direction of the DCU that has me a bit, I'll say it, concerned. So what they're basically talking about here is somebody was talking about on social media that, I'm just going to be heartbroken that they're going to write out Zachary Levi. To me, he is the best part of the DCU. And while I don't think he's the best part of the DCU, I think he's great. I love him as Shazam. I absolutely love him as Shazam. And yeah, so this is what transpired here. And we can bring this up on my screen if you want, Jonathan. This is what transpired. So this one user writes in and basically says, I want this to not be true because his Shazam is the one thing in the DCU that I would absolutely throw hands to protect. Zach Levi is perfection, she says. Okay. To which Zachary Levi responds, oh, I really wouldn't go believing everything you see on the internet. I'm Gucci. Ash, we all Gucci. All right. This is the second actual individual that's come out, because James Gunn also responded recently to saying, now it's not real clear what he was saying, but it basically said something on Twitter along the lines says, who said I booted Gal Gadot? Which, can be interpreted different ways. But one of the ways you can interpret that is that him implying that Gal Gadot is going to continue being Wonder Woman. And I'll tell you this, for well over a decade, I have been and am a huge James Gunn fan. He is the guy to lead DC. I'm very excited about it, and I trust James Gunn. Even though we don't know what his whole plan is, that's all going to be coming later, not knowing what the plan is, I trust him. I do. But I will say this. This is the first thing that has made me concerned. And I'm using the word concerned, not jumped off the bandwagon, not turned on James Gunn, nothing like that. But everything I've seen coming out of this new system, even when they said Henry Cavill was no longer Superman, I'm like, all right, that breaks my little Henry Cavill loving heart. But I get it, because you've got a vision for this thing, and that means you got to get rid of the old to bring in the new. To quote the Bible to y'all, the old wineskin cannot hold the new wine. There's a little Jesus for you right there. The old wineskin cannot hold the new wine. You need new wineskin. You got to get rid of the old if you're going to bring in the new. But part of that, and part of the reason why I accepted that Henry Cavill wasn't going to be there anymore, was because they needed a clean slate. What are we talking about? Zach Levi is still going to be Shazam. And again, you're right. The person who wrote in, Galactic Champ wrote in, said this isn't 100% confirmation. We don't know exactly what this means. Zach Levi saying, hey, we're good. We're all good. You can't believe everything you read. That wasn't Zach Levi coming out saying, I am going to continue to be Shazam for the next 5 years. He didn't say that, granted. So this is all based on some interpretation. I admit that right up front. Okay, now that we've laid that groundwork, this is purely interpretation. But I, as a fan, I'm going to have some questions. If you do keep around, and these are big ifs, but if you are keeping around Zachary Levi Shazam, and I love Zachary Levi Shazam, but if you're going to keep that around, and it's only if, James Gunn was implying that Gal Gadot is still going to be around as Wonder Woman, well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to fucking explain to me why Henry Cavill isn't Superman anymore. You're going to have to fucking explain to me why Henry Cavill is not Superman anymore. Because when it looked like, and remember, I'm only talking about a hypothetical situation that we do not even know if it's real, okay? So take that with a grain of salt. But I was okay that Henry Cavill wasn't going to be Superman anymore because I understood that the DC universe was not working and you needed to start over. So I'm like, you know what? It hurts, but I get it. Big picture. Big picture. You want to see a healthy, thriving DCU 3 years from now, not just picking and choosing little things and try to keep it on life support. That was DC. And oddly, the noise coming from the bathroom when Taylor's in there. I have no idea what that meant. But so I need to know. Sorry, I got to give myself this. So anyway, if, and again, this is coming from a James Gunn lover, right? Love James Gunn, trust James Gunn. I don't know what his full plan is. I'm just saying that while I have been 100% on board with every decision and every move, if you are keeping around Zachary Levi and you're keeping around Gal Gadot, and we don't know that he is, and you keep around Jason Momoa as Aquaman, I don't believe he is. I think he's going to be global. But if you're going to do all that, then yeah, James, who I love, you're going to have to fucking explain where Henry Cavill is. Because if the answer is not, well, we needed a clean slate, then you're picking the wrong horses. Because Henry Cavill is one of the best working pieces of that. Hadn't had the box office results that we wanted to, but that had a large part to do with some other circumstances going around. Most people acknowledge Henry Cavill's pretty good as Superman, even if they didn't like his Superman movies. But I get it. You need a clean slate, you let him go, and I'm okay. You start keeping around a bunch of other pieces, then yeah, you are going to have to make 50 of those damn Instagram black background white text messages explaining yourself about where the fuck is Henry Cavill. Because as excited as I am about 40K, and I'm excited about Warhammer 40K, I want an S on his chest. Yep. And if you ain't getting rid of him because you need a clean slate, then why the fuck you getting rid of him? Now again, we don't know any of this is true or real. This is all based on interpretation about some obscure interpretive things being said online and all that kind of stuff. So I might be getting worked up for absolutely nothing. Absolutely. But if this is the situation, I still trust Gunn. I'm just going to need him to explain to us like why Henry is gone if it wasn't for a total clean slate. Anyway, Chris, you see these where you saw Zachary Levi saying, and granted, Zachary Levi did not just come out and say, nope, I'm safe. I'm going to be Shazam for the next 5 years. He didn't say that. This is all interpretive. But what's your takeaway from what they're saying here?
I mean, it could be a multitude of things, right? In the next Shazam film, we could find out that, Billy no longer is transforming, or he has a different character. And then Zachary Levi got paid and he's done and he's having a happy, good life. Yay him. I just think the Shazam movie, this next one, has a lot of potential, and maybe they're already seeing some stuff that we haven't, right? And go, well, moving forward, this is what we really want to have as part of our universe. And this kind of already does feel a little Elseworlds, right? We never saw Superman's head. It was just implied that Supes came to
cut off.
We know that there's a Batman, but it's obviously not Robert Pattinson. He's not giving kids his Batarang for money, There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in there that this could be its own little entity. It's already its own little island, kind of. So I don't think it affects the overarching plans of the DCU right now. So that's why I think maybe he's safe. But truly, this is a kind of mud is mud statement. He's just like, I'm fine. That doesn't mean anything. We don't know anything that's going on here.
Rob, what do you think about all this?
Well, look, I think that there's no guarantee. We have to see, first of all, Fury of the Gods makes a decent amount of money, maybe. But if we're looking at a 300, 400, 500,000 or 500 million gross, I think Shazam's done for a while. I don't think that Shazam is even going to be a part of the reboot of James Gunn's central
I wouldn't
DC
have thought
universe.
either. I wouldn't have thought that either.
I honestly don't think that he would be. And the fact that Zachary Levi, I mean, how many characters get any movies, much less two? And Fury of the Gods looks really good, but let's face it, the first Shazam did not blow up the box office. It performed reasonably well for a studio tentpole property.
It performed okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I was trying to be nice.
Less than Black Adam.
Yes. I mean, it did not make a whole lot of money. And I didn't like the movie as much as you. I thought it was a little schizophrenic in terms of its tone. But I liked the character of Shazam. But I don't think that the character of Shazam is something that when you think about the cornerstone of the DC characters, Shazam is not in your top 10. Shazam's been a member of or Captain Marvel's been a member of the Justice League sometimes, but not much. I mean, you've got your core group of characters. I mean, I think we're going to see Hawkman before we're going to see, or John Jones before we see Shazam in the new DCU. But although maybe Shazam's a favorite character of James Gunn's. I mean, I think right now it's all up in the air, and it's fun to speculate. But when we finally get a bigger picture of what's going on, I think it's going to be a lot more meat and potatoes. You know, we're going to see those core characters. We will see Green Lantern. I mean, they've been talking about a Green Lantern series for how long? Greg Berlanti was doing it, then it was HBO Max. Now it's not happening at all.
I believe it's first mentioned in Harrison Ford's 1923.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. I was going to see that Green Lantern.
They've been talking about Green Lantern a long
Helen
time.
Mirren talked about it because, you know, after all, she's in the Shazam movie, so she'd know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I'm so aware of her presence.
Yes. I mean, hey,
Logan's in the chat being like, Helen Mirren.
I just think we're gonna find out soon, and we'll have a better picture. I still think all of these movies are going to be swept away in favor of a term that they use in Star Trek 2 of its new Matrix.
Every time, I don't know how you're going to do it, but you get
We need
Star Trek
we
in
need to
there.
get an audio cue. You know what? Okay, I'm going to work on audio cues for this show.
just for whenever Rob brings up Star Trek, that
Certain
James Gunn is
things.
going to bring his own Genesis device.
Yes. Yes.
own Genesis
nice. So you
device?
knew what I was talking.
Oh, I know what you were talking about.
You knew what I was talking
Oh,
about.
you don't think I know Star Trek? I know Star Trek, not like you, but I
That was
know
a
my
good
Star
one.
Trek.
It's good that you followed right out. You knew exactly what I was talking
The
about.
Genesis weapon. Look, again, let me put this as an umbrella statement over everything else. I trust James Gunn. I don't think there's anybody else who's better suited to be in the position that he's in than he is. I'm just saying a little worked up here because you guys know I love Henry Cavill, and it's just that it's unfamiliar territory for me right now because every single decision I've seen being made, I have been all for. This is the first one that I'm like, wait a minute. It's like I saw Dad at midnight when I came out of the bedroom eating the cookies set out for Santa Claus. Wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute. Something is afoot. And it just makes me nervous. James, call me. Settle me down. Make me feel better about this. Anyway, guys, what do you guys think about this? Do you think Zachary Levi, who, by the way, I adore as Shazam. I love him in that movie. But do you think Zachary Levi will continue to be Shazam? Do you think Gal Gadot will continue to be Wonder Woman? Is Henry Cavill the last one without a chair in this game of Ring Around the Rosie? I don't know. Whatever you guys feel, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 4, shall we? Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
This one comes from Thanso. Maybe Thanos, but Thanso is what we've got. Well, to no one's surprise, it's official. Dwayne shared on his social media that Black Adam is not in Gunn's plans, at least for the time being, but they are in talks for how they can use the character in the future. Do you think that last part is true or something he said to save face? I guess the hierarchy of the DCU changed, but not in the way DJ hoped.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And of course, look, it is unfortunate. And we have been talking about Dwayne Johnson, first of all, in the Shazam world for 15 years, specifically as Black Adam for 7 or something like that. We've been waiting for it. We've been excited about it. I was in the room at CinemaCon. I think Ray was with me when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came out on stage and said, you know, the world of the DC universe is about to be under my boot and, you know, all this kind of stuff. That was years ago, many years ago, and been excited about it, looking forward to it. It finally came and it landed with a thud. Now, I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I have said publicly, I would look forward to seeing another one, but it had some major problems. It certainly did not feel like a movie that's been in the works for 5, 10, 15 years. It had a lot of issues with it, but it was fun. But there's no way around it. The movie drastically underperformed. Didn't even make $400 million. In a world where the worst Marvel movies are making $700 million plus, Black Adam making 3. We don't expect it to live up to Marvel's box office numbers. Marvel's the most powerful box office juggernaut in the world. Okay, that's fine, but this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a superhero movie, and it couldn't crack 400 million. That says a lot about the status of the DCEU. It tells us a lot about a lot of different things. So the question has been, even though it seemed pretty obvious to us, we said on the show a while ago, there's no way they were going to do a Black Adam 2. No way. Well, now it's official. because Dwayne Johnson himself has come out and confirmed that, there ain't going to be a Black Adam 2. But he also kind of hints that there could still be a future for his Black Adam. Maybe. Now, following the lead of James Gunn, Dwayne Johnson decided to do his own black background, white text message that he put out to his friends. We can bring up my, you got it there already. Okay. So this is what he had to say. He wrote to his audience, "My passionate friends, I wanted to give you a long-awaited Black Adam update regarding the character's future in the new DC universe. James Gunn and I connected, and Black Adam will not be in their first chapter of storytelling. However, DC and $7, that's his production company, and $7 have agreed to continue exploring the most valuable ways Black Adam can be utilized in future DC Multiverse chapters. James and I have known each other for years and have always rooted for each other to succeed. It's no different now, and I will always root for DC and Marvel to win and win big. You guys know me, and I have very thick skin, and you can always count on me to be direct with my words." He goes on to say, "These decisions made by James and DC leadership represent their vision of the DCU through their creative lens. After 15 years of relentless hard work to finally make Black Adam, I'm very proud of the film that we delivered for fans worldwide. I will always look back on the fan reaction to Black Adam with tremendous gratitude, humility, and love. We did great. To my very passionate and vocal Black Adam / superhero genre fans, I love you, thank you, and I will always listen to you and do my best to deliver and entertain you. What a hell of a month. Now we need some, I'm not quite sure what that says.
Terramana, his
That's
tequila.
just
Oh, that's his tequila. Okay, there you go. Have a productive week and happy holidays to you and your families. And that, of course, came from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. All right. You know what? Perfect statement.
Yeah.
Perfect statement, because the narrative around Dwayne Johnson has been turning against him over the last little bit here. And I think him coming out and saying, yo, me and James Gunn, we've known each other a long time. We're fans of each other. We love what we're doing. And yeah, there's not a future for Black Adam here. Now, I think it was very important to point out that Dwayne Johnson just essentially said Black Adam is never going to be a part of the DC shared cinematic universe. That's done. But he did say, and I want to make sure I read this right, so I'll read it specifically here. It says, "We're going to continue to explore a valuable way that Black Adam can be utilized in future DC multiverse chapters." So maybe there's going to be an Elseworld kind of movie or something outside of the mainline DCU that maybe Black Adam can pop back up in. And you know what? I'm all for that. I think that's great. Look, you've invested a lot over the years in bringing Black Adam to the screen. Why not see if there is a way to utilize that and get a little bit more, return on that investment? So I think that's great. But again, I think the fact that he very specifically said, look for ways that he can be utilized in DC multiverse chapters, I think that pretty much tells us directly that there is no Black Adam 2. That is done. It's finished. He's going to move on. DC's going to move on. If they can find a way to use this character in an Elseworlds kind of story down the road, go for it. I'm all for it. I think Dwayne Johnson is a great Black Adam. So I'd like to see it. One of the other things that stands out to me in this story too is, we talked about this before, that I love that James Gunn, although you do got to explain to me why Henry's not there. While I love the fact that James Gunn is not sending a text message to somebody or not sending his assistant over to say something, he's actually talking with these individuals. We heard that James Gunn and Ben Affleck sat down together to discuss Ben Affleck's future in DC. Henry Cavill wrote that James Gunn and him met to talk about what's going to happen with Superman. That James Gunn and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson actually directly communicated with each other about what's going to happen and all this kind of stuff. I love leaders that do that. I think that's fantastic, and I'm really happy that he's doing it that way. And it sounds like Dwayne Johnson is taking a great approach to this. It's like, look, we're not a part of the creative vision that they have for DC moving forward. And I'm cheering for them. I like James Gunn. James Gunn likes me. And who knows, maybe we can find a way to work together. This was a perfect statement for Dwayne Johnson to put out. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to read the statement. What are your takeaways from it? What stood out to you in this message?
Well, first of all, like you said, class act all the way. great message. But I think that the reality, we have to remember what the reality is. Shazam, Black Adam, all 3 Henry Cavill Superman movies, none of these movies performed monetarily the way the studio wanted them to. As a matter of fact, other than Aquaman and maybe the first Wonder Woman, all of these movies have in some way been a bit of a disappointment, at least the DC universe as it was conceived by Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder. Harley Quinn, that solo movie didn't
Want to hear a
work.
sobering number? Sony's, not Marvel's, Sony's Venom made more money than Black Adam and Shazam combined.
Yeah,
Not a Marvel movie.
I mean,
Sony.
This is where the reality, and what James Gunn and Peter Safran, their mandate is we want. I'm sure that they've been told we want parity in terms of what Marvel's doing. We don't want to make a Batman Superman movie that makes less than $1 billion. We want to make a Batman Superman movie that performs like our other great franchises, whether it's Harry Potter, whether it's Lord of the Rings, whether it's Nolan's Batman films. That's what we're expecting. That's what their task is. That's why their contract's going to last 4 years. It gives them a way to launch something and get a number, maybe 4 of these movies in a pipeline, and that's what they're going to see if it works or not. They might have a 10-year plan, but their contract's only for 4 years, and at the end of that 4 years, I'm sure they're going to have at least 4 films completed, and those 4 films are going to be expected to perform $800 million and more. And if they don't, it was a failed experiment. But right now, none of these movies warrant anybody spending any more money on them. They just don't. And I love Dwayne Johnson, but even Dwayne Johnson, if you sat him down and had some tequila with him, he's going to admit, proof's in the pudding, our movie didn't perform. There's no reason why somebody's going to give me more money to make a Black Adam 2 because the first one didn't warrant a sequel. It just didn't.
Chris, you read this statement from Dwayne Johnson. I thought it was a great statement, but
Yeah.
what stood out to you as you were reading it?
Oh, it
What
was
jumped off the page?
Classy, and he approached this with grace and humility. So that's really, really nice to see. But what I take away from this most is, man, he is such a businessman. There's brand synergy in this post. He tells you to go get his tequila, essentially, while talking about how there's not going to be another Black Adam movie. And what he does really well here, too, is he leaves the door open. Because as actors, no matter how successful someone appears, there is no guarantee in your career at all. Everyone thinks there's a lateral trajectory for like movie stars. There's not. That's why so many of them have other brand endeavors, because they need to make sure they have sustainable, reliable income. So for him to do this whole thing of hopefully there's work in the future, I love DC and I love Marvel, he's built to be a superhero. He literally looks like a superhero. So it's really, really in his best interest to make sure that everybody is still happy, everyone's all copacetic with one another, and that he can still revisit these worlds at some point in time, hopefully with a property that does better.
Rob, let me ask you a question here. One of the things mentioned is like, hey, James and I, we're going to continue talking about ways that maybe Black Adam can appear in a DC multiverse film. Just a nice platitude, or is that something that you think can actually happen?
No, I think why not leave? Because, like you just pointed out, Chris, Dwayne Johnson is a force of nature. He's great as Black Adam. The problem with Black Adam, like the problem with most movies, was the script. Mm-hmm. The script, especially in this day and age, with what we've got in a world where we've received Winter Soldier and Infinity War and Joker and Aquaman. You take your pick. That script was a throwback to an era that is, well, we're not in that era anymore. And the one thing about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he spent all this time looking like Black Adam, but we needed a script that did him justice, and we didn't get it. And if we did have it, people would have gone to see it. The fact is, audiences didn't love that movie enough.
Chris, he says we're going to look for ways to put him in a multiversal DC film.
Yeah.
Do you think that project actually happens, or is this just really nice word showing, hey, that we're all cool?
With the idea of the Elseworlds and everything, I think he absolutely could pop up again.
Ray, going to go over to you. Is Black Adam going to show up again in a DC multiverse movie, or was that the last time we're going to see Dwayne Johnson?
It sounded like he was saying goodbye to me. That's the tone
Yeah.
of it. Like a nice way to say goodbye, that this chapter, he's done his thing. The thing with him is that movie, the movie ended in a way where you could have just ended right there. That's his Black Adam movie. I
him
know.
sitting on that throne.
Yeah.
All that
I mean,
kind of stuff.
you could just picture him there. So no, I don't think he's going to be bad.
Well, I did put the question. I just put up this poll in the live chat for those of you guys watching live, and I asked you, will they actually make a movie with Black Adam that is appearing in it sometime? And right now, you guys are saying 62% of you are saying no, they won't ever. That movie's not going to happen. 37% of you are saying yes. So there you go. Thank you for participating in that poll, guys. All right, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you think Dwayne Johnson will at some point appear in a DC multiversal movie? What do you think about them now just clearing the air, settling it, saying Black Adam's done? There's not going to be a Black Adam 2. Black Adam's not going to be a part of at least this first stage of DC stuff. Do you think he will ultimately appear in it again? What did you think about his statement? I thought it was really well written and well put. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, this is normally the part of the show where I will tell you about, super chats and all that kind of stuff. And we are going to do them, but I'm just going to let you know that we're going to do a shorter than normal show today. So we're not going to go right to 12:30. So we are now going to open up the super chats. Just understand, we only usually leave them open for a couple of minutes. It's going to be even shorter today. So get in your thoughts, theories, and questions quickly if you want. Those are open right now. But before we get to those, we want to take another break here and thank a couple more of the sponsors of the John Campea Show today, our friends at DraftKings and Ryan Reynolds, Good Canadian Kids, Mint Mobile. Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank one of the sponsors of this video, DraftKings. This time of year, everyone's excited for the holiday spirit, but what about all the basketball? When it's time to throw down on the NBA action, it's gotta be with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet just $5 pregame moneyline on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Plus, everyone can combine multiple bets for a bigger payout with DraftKings same game parlays. Just download the DraftKings app, use the code CAMPEA, place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win, and get $150 in free bets if they do. That's code CAMPEA only at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonuses issued as free bets. Eligibility and terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. This holiday season, the best deal in wireless can only be found at Mint Mobile. Right now, when you switch to Mint Mobile and buy any 3-month plan, you get another 3 months for free. Mint Mobile lets you order and activate from home with eSIM while saving tons on phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know I've been using Mint Mobile long before this holiday deal, and I have to say it is the perfect time to switch. I have absolutely loved using Mint Mobile, and like I've told you guys many times, I am now spending less than 1/3 of what I used to spend under one of the other major mobile carriers. And now with the whole buy 3 months, get 3 months free deal, it's even better. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily and effortlessly with eSIM. Or if you need a new device, for a limited time, get 6 months of free service when you buy a select device and plan. So guys, for a limited time, buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plan and get 3 more months for free by going to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at DraftKings and, of course, Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, let's now get over to you, your thoughts and what you have for us here in the super chat. So, Chris, what do we got?
That's not me. Hey. From Trevor, who sends in a $20 super chat. One of my all-time favorite movies is The Sound of Music. I just noticed that a 4K restoration was done not that long ago. Rob, Have you heard anything about a 4K Blu-ray release? Hashtag physical media for life.
I have not, but a lot of 4K restorations do show up streaming now before they show up on physical media.
Really? But has it come out on disc at this point?
Not,
Or is it only
not the 4K version.
not on streaming? What is it? Does I Am 16 going on?
Yeah.
So that's for
Have you seen the Mulaney sketch about that song?
No, I
Oh,
have
it's hilarious. We gotta watch it.
not. You know, Mulaney was just in concert. Where was it?
Yamava.
He was just there, and I wanted to get tickets for it, but we had other plans.
Same.
I'd love to see him
He's
live.
great live. We saw him do the Kid Gorgeous tour. That was amazing.
Sorry. Before you guys continue, did we thank the members?
Oh yeah, well Taylor was
Sure.
pointing out
Oh, yeah,
something
yeah,
to us a little bit earlier. What was
Yeah,
that?
so during one of our topics earlier today, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, but Stefan de Lint
Wouters.
gifted 50 John Campea memberships. So thank you so much. 50. That is
50.
not
50.
Wow.
50 John Campea Show memberships.
the
Thank
day
you,
that
Stefan.
Puss in Boots releases. There is no coincidence. I guarantee it.
Stefan has been a longtime viewer of our show and gifting 50 memberships. So thank you so much
Tis
for
the
that.
season.
Tis the season indeed. Well done, man. Thank you. And everybody who received those memberships, thanks you as well. All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, who do you think is the greatest individual performer or performers of all time? Michael Jackson, Prince, and Elvis are in a class of their own, but Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, and Beyonce are just below.
You're talking about just musical performers? I'll tell you what. They're not my favorite band of all time. I'm not saying they're my favorite band of all time. But Rolling Stones put on a hell of a show.
Yep.
Like they are all of them were just like performers, like complete. If you're talking about overall entertainers, well then I'm looking for somebody who's more of a triple threat. People who can sing, act, dance, comedy, cry, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if any of those fall into that category. But as far as
Come on,
pure
man.
performance-
Prince, Under the Cherry Moon.
Prince is great.
That
Prince
was
is
one
great.
stellar performance.
Elton John live, whoo, so good.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of good ones. All right, what's next?
From Fry Minis, hear me out. The John Campea Show Christmas Special, Krampus John, Chris Claus, Rob the Elf, Gingerbread Taylor, the Reindeer, and just stick Jonathan in a box with a bow on or something.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't think about doing a Christmas special.
We still can.
Jonathan popping out of a box doing his whole, I can still hear the screams.
I can still hear this.
Great. Oh, I'd love it.
All right, what's next?
From Corey Hensley, I love Elseworlds Speeding Bullets. In it, Kal-El's ship crashes on the Wayne estate, and he's raised as Bruce. His
Yeah.
parents still die in that alley.
I don't remember Speeding Bullets being the name of it. Maybe that was
I think it was.
But yeah, that was a good one. Like, what if Superman was raised by the Waynes? I mean, that's a really interesting one too. I'm trying to think of another one that I really liked. You mentioned
Gotham by Gaslight.
Gaslight.
Yes.
Yep, you mentioned that one. But again, to me, Red Sun is like the granddaddy of them. Like what if Clark's escape pod landed in Soviet Russia, and what happens then? I mean, that was just fascinating. All right, what's next?
From Dumb Bro Door, one of two. Hi, John. Finally did adopt a family this year.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well done.
Got to sponsor 3 families, 2 people each, who sadly were all victims of human trafficking.
Oh my God.
Did what was asked and inspired by you. I pushed myself more
I'm already loving
to
this.
try to shower them with joy. I haven't met any of them, but I was happy to be able to take the opportunity to help them, even if I feel like I still fell short. Thank you so much for always inspiring me, John. And that totals to a $20 super chat too. So thank you for being generous with us as well. That's amazing.
I mean, seriously, we've been every year around Christmas time, we tell you, because we want to get you guys to get involved too, about the adopt a family thing. This is something Ann and I have been doing for about a decade. And while last year and this year, we are going to, this family has no idea what's coming today. And that's great. But even in previous years, when we've been able to go, we spend $100, $200, $300 on presents, usually for a family that has kids and they, for different reasons and circumstances in their life, they're not able to provide like a Christmas for their kids. I'm telling you guys, contact your local government. Find out the agency that is running your local adopt a family program. Even if it's something, if you can just get 2 or 3 friends together, get like $250 together, you are the joy that you bring to a family. And it's not just that momentary joy. It's showing somebody that there is good in our effed up world. We talked a lot about how the fact that, the Joker says all it takes is one bad day. Well, sometimes the opposite is true. All it takes is one good day. And you have the power to deliver that one good day to maybe a family. I don't know. I'm getting fucking emotional right now. You have, fuck it. You have the ability to deliver one good day to a family that's just what they need. That's all they need is one good day. And you have the power to do that. And Ann and I have seen that upfront and personal firsthand. And last year and this year, you guys have partnered with us to deliver like some like over the top stuff, which has been great. And we were able to read that message that came from that one family the other day. But
who then paid it forward.
Who then paid it forward. The family you guys helped us adopt last year. They're adopting families this year because you and I and all of us, we were able to help them get on their feet. And do not underestimate the power of small acts of kindness. So don't think for yourself, well, I wasn't able to do much. You changed somebody's world, even if it was just for a moment. And that means something. So everybody, it's a little too late this year, but just mark it on your calendars. Next year, start talking to your friends. You know what, next year, let's get 3 or 4 of us together. Let's pool our resources. Let's get connected through the municipal agency with an adoptive family, and let's give them one good day. It changes the world. So I think that's awesome that you did that, Drum Brodor. So thank you so much for that.
I love that you grabbed the gin for security in that moment.
I was going to try to shock it out of me. I was getting a little emotional. All right. Yeah, this is my security.
That's like
thing.
your thunder shirt now.
Gin.
I'll just hold the bottle. Thanks,
All right.
Ryan.
What's next?
From A. Marcellus, which deceased actors that passed too soon do you wish were still with us for younger generations to experience? For me, it's Raul Julia. Oh, I would love to see what he would have done in the 2000s. He's great.
You know, whenever they pass away too soon, it's always you think about what they could have given us and delivered, whether it's like a River Phoenix or obviously Heath Ledger or stuff like that. But honestly, we talked about him the other day, Chris Farley. Mm-hmm. Well, John Candy before that, but let's do with Chris Farley for a second. Chris Farley just had a way that it didn't matter whether you wanted to or not. Chris Farley will make you laugh. He will make you laugh. Not make you laugh, he will force you to laugh. He had that ability, and that gift to be able to instill laughter into people is huge. So that's one that I think about. What about you, Chris? You have somebody in mind?
I mean, obviously, we all wish Robin Williams was with us longer.
Oh, God, yes.
But Brittany Murphy, I think...
Yeah, she was just coming into the height of her power,
She was fantastic. She was such a good actress, and I think really overlooked a lot of times. And I always just thought she was an incredible performer.
Rob, do you got one off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I Leonard Nimoy.
Well,
no, I mean,
he had
a pretty good life.
He had a great
Yeah.
life. I mean, I can't. Off the top of my head, I can't. Look, I wish Stanley Kubrick, not an actor, but I wish he would have survived to make one more movie. Mm-hmm. He died when he was 70, and I see these directors like Scorsese and Clint Eastwood had 20 more years of work left in him, and I would love to have seen Kubrick see the end of Eyes Wide Shut and its release and make another movie because he's my favorite director of all time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
From Anish, just want to thank you guys for what you do. I don't get to donate as much as I did back in the day. I'm broke, yo. But I watch every show, and I'm just so appreciative that this show exists.
Oh, hey, listen, Anish, you're supporting our show just by being here and watching it with us. So thank you so much. Thank you for being with us for so long. And thank you for kicking in and contributing to the shows that you watch. But even just being here is supportive to us. So thank you so much for that, man. This is very kind of you, dude. All right. What's next?
From Adrian, John's Superman fan casting is missing Wolfgang Novogratz. He's 25, unknown, and 100% looks the part. I've been advocating for him since 2019. Look him up.
I have no idea who he is.
No idea
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I generally don't really care about what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Again, if Hugh Jackman can be made Wolverine, then
Oh, it's
clearly
got his face.
what they look like. I mean, that looks like a Clark Kent.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
looked.
But
the
I have
question
no
is-
idea. Have you been able to find? Can you find anything about what he does?
He looks familiar.
I have no idea who he is.
Okay, he's been in a few things. Feel the Beat, The Last Summer.
Don't know it.
I don't know any of these things he's been in.
Yeah. again, to me, the look. Honestly, I know there are people. He's got to look the role. Completely irrelevant. Like again, Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, a 6-foot+ guy playing who's supposed to be a 5-foot tall Wolverine character, proves that the look of the actor isn't really that important. But I only care about whether they can act. I have no idea if this guy can.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely looks the part, but he's got to be able to. He's got to have that twinkle in his eye. He's got to be able to play. Christopher Reeve was a relative unknown, but he had it.
Yeah.
Like the way when he first came on screen, both as bumbling Clark and as Superman, He was great.
You know what's the
and
funny
he had
thing?
great comedic timing.
Yeah.
Sacrilege. Superman isn't even my favorite Christopher Reeve performance. Noises
Is it
Off.
Noises Off? Yeah.
I love him in
He's
Noises
so good
Off.
in it.
He's so good in Noises Off.
The chat is saying that this dude is young Rob, and I'm living for it.
Young Rob. Really?
That's your kid.
Wow. Well, I'd love to have a handsome kid like that as my spawn.
I didn't know you had a ninth.
I
Congrats, man.
8 is enough, John.
Mazel tov. 8 is enough.
8 is enough. That's why they did that show.
All right, what's next?
From Sean Ryder, saw a clip of John floating around from the AMC Talk Days saying that if they whiffed on Batman v Superman, they would have rebooted in 10 years. LOL.
Yeah, so I saw this yesterday too. So it was a TikTok video that had a staggering number of views on it. But it's a clip of me. This is going all the way back. I said, if you guys screw up Batman versus Superman, you're done. And in 10 years, you're going to have to reboot. And then here we are. And I think the headline was John Campea was a prophet. So it's like, it was funny. It was a funny little clip.
But true.
But true.
You were right.
Here we are. It was a wild guess. You know what's funny though? It wasn't long before that we were doing one of those early AMC shows, and Amy Rose was on, and we were talking about something about DC. It's like, when they announced Robert Pattinson as Batman, and we all laughed, ha ha ha. I clipped that out and I shared that clip about a year ago when Amy Rose predicted Robert Pattinson as Batman. All right, what's next?
From CJ Rebirth, thank you all for making me love the show, doing stuff like Aliens Movie Club, VO Education, and giving me everything to look forward to every day, or something to look forward to every day.
Aw, thank you, CJ Rebirth.
Nice.
We appreciate it. We got some new things we're going to be trying around here too. Coming up pretty soon. I mean, maybe they'll work, maybe they won't. I don't know. But we always like trying to do new things to, hopefully give context and information to our audience and entertain our audience. So, but thank you for being a part of it, man. We appreciate that. All right, what's next?
From Vixter 5001, my current fave streamer equals Paramount Plus UK, 1883, 1923, The Offer, Mayor of Kingstown, and Yellowstone. We have it on there in the UK. Loving The Offer.
I'm telling you what, we said this before, but for the last number of years, it's always about, and then there's Paramount. Paramount's struggling. How much longer can they be around? How do they even afford that lot that they have in that prime location? I'm telling you what, man, the last little bit, they have been killing it. And Paramount Plus is turning out to be a nice little streaming service. They're winning at the box office. I mean, they're doing some good things there, Rob.
Dude, I think so too. And The Offer, did they just
so
miss
good.
Matthew Good as Bob Evans is one of my favorite performances of the year.
It made me start saying Bubby.
But I mean,
again.
where was he at the Emmys? Like, I can't believe.
Yeah, he maybe should have got some
that guy
recognition
should have won. First of all, I love Matthew Good. He was great in A Single Man. I didn't love him as Ozymandias and Watchmen, but I love him. He can do nothing wrong for
His
me.
dialect work is bananas good.
Oh, he
does such a good job.
So good. That guy. But his Bob Evans is one for the ages.
That scene where he goes into the boardroom of Westinghouse and explains the magic of the movies to those guys. That's like one of my favorite scenes.
I mean,
of
they
television
should
history.
continue The Offer if it was successful enough and do Bob Evans' whole stint at Paramount, and what happened in his life, because The Godfather 2 and then going on and doing things like Chinatown with Roman Polanski and becoming friends with Jack Nicholson and his whole later life. Pretty interesting dude.
All right, what's next?
From Quentin Tarantino Turner. Have you guys checked Don't Pick Up the Phone, a docuseries on Netflix about a hoax caller that made fast food managers strip search their employee? Blows my mind it happened for 10 years. I've seen the film this is based on.
Me too. I own it.
Oh, yeah.
I've never even heard of this.
Oh, it's horrible. It's like it's really well done, but this whole thing was just absolutely horrific. They would call and pretend to be, like police or managers or things like that, and get people like managers to just completely humiliate and exploit their employees by accusing them of theft or things like that. It's very
The
disturbing.
movie's called Compliance.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
is it done as a narrative?
Yeah, it's done
not
not as a
documentary movie,
document.
okay.
No, it's done
Yeah.
as a narrative, but it's totally inspired by this.
Wow. Okay. Again, Netflix, worst streamer in the world about not promoting their own material. I've never heard of this before, but now you've got me intrigued. All right. Thanks for putting it on the radar. All right. What's next?
Dark.
That's like
stuff.
next level coning. Do you guys remember coning, where you would go through the drive-through at McDonald's and you would pick up the ice cream, buy the ice cream, and let the employee hold the cone and drive away? Next level
I never
coning.
saw that.
That's amazing.
It doesn't sound similar at all, but now I want to watch that too. All right. What's next?
Coning.
From Ben Rayner, sending in a $20
Thank
super
you,
chat.
Ben, so much, man.
Hey, John and crew, did you see that American Cinematic Award honored Ryan Reynolds? And they had a lot of celebs go up and make funny speeches. I was watching on YouTube and dying from laughing.
I didn't even hear about this.
Me neither.
I mean, it sounds good. I'll have to go look it up. When guys in the live chat, if you're familiar with this, let us know when that happened, because I would be very, very curious to see. Obviously, I've been a big fan of Ryan Reynolds long before Mint Mobile became a sponsor of the show or anything like that. But good Canadian kid. Nobody deserves it better. I love all the stuff that he does, and I want to go watch this. This sounds good. Oh, Fanjecture in the live chat is saying it happened yesterday, I think, or 2 or 3 days ago. Somebody else is saying Anubis Genocide saying maybe 2-3 days. Well, I'll have to go and look that up. Thank you for putting that on the radar, Ben. I appreciate that. I never even would have heard of this. All right, what's next?
From Matt Boyle, my top 5 films of the year. 5, Everything Everywhere All at Once. 4, The Banshees of Inisherin. 3, The Batman. 2, Avatar: The Way of Water. 1, Top Gun: Maverick.
Yeah, and actually today we are recording our top 10 best films of the year, our top 10 worst films of the year, and our top 10 most anticipated films of 2023. Now, we're not going to air those until next week when we're not doing the regular John Campea show. Those videos will go up next week, but we're going to be recording those, so I'm not going to spoil it, not going to give anything away about our top 10s or anything. But I love all the films on your list. All right, what's next?
From Jedediah Elias, Everything Everywhere should win Best Picture solely off that Be Kind scene with Ke Huy Quan.
That movie, look, there's nothing left for me to say about this movie.
Beautiful.
He's going to get an Academy Award nomination, which is huge. And he actually has a shot at winning. And it's not just the novelty of, short runs back in the movies again. No, watch him in this movie, because he has to play several different versions of himself in it. And they're all convincing and fantastic, especially in the more well-to-do future. And he's like, oh my God, it's so good. Anyway, I've run out of words to say about Everything Everywhere. All right, what's next?
From John Wickett, some support, and from Peter Cunnington, some support. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, guys. And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it. And for that, we thank you guys so much. Hey, a little bit of a programming note. A little bit later this afternoon, either at 3 or 3:30, keep your eyes open for what time it'll be. Los Angeles time, Robert and I will be doing our Avatar: The Way of Water open spoiler discussion. That happens later this afternoon. Keep your guys' eyes open for it, and we hope that you guys will join us for that if you have seen Avatar: The Way of Water already. All right, guys, don't forget to join us again tomorrow for the next episode of the John Campea Show. We hope to see you there. So for everybody here in the room, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, Chris Carr, Ray Ora back there, of course, running the show, Jonathan Voico, right beside him, Taylor Gonzalez, and I, of course, am John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.